Hey Omega Killer, glad you could make it. All the way from start to finish. We'll see. We'll see if you're still standing. Well, when I'm done. Hey Omega Killer, glad you could make it. But yeah, it's been a surprisingly long time. It's kind of funny. I borrowed the camera that I use for streaming, which is my little GoPro. So I've been taking videos around the house for a couple of projects. And I've been too lazy to just stop making those projects, put the camera back, and do a stream. So yeah, I feel a little bit bad. I'm not gonna apologize, but I feel a little bit bad that it's been like 2 weeks. I was doing streams almost on a daily basis. So I've missed it. So glad people are jumping on. And let's see. Tell me what you've been up to. It's been, like I said, a couple of weeks. Any fun projects that any of you have started? Wagon loads. I'm honored to have you. So, oh, I see. No worries. Glad you could stop by, even if it's 5 minutes, or if you're like Omega Killer and want to stay for the whole stream. I'm happy that people just at least stop by and say hi. So that's interesting. What are you doing for church, if you don't mind me asking? And out here it's been, depending on the state you're in, whether you can go physically or not, there's been a bit of push in both directions. So I'm just curious how that's working out for you. Hey Julian, and yeah, let me know on chat if you all can hear me okay. Like I don't think I'll ever get the hang of it. I was checking on my phone and I killed that at the beginning of stream, so but I think it's okay. Alright. I wasn't seeing any replies on the chat, so that's why I got a little nervous. It's like maybe I'm just talking to myself now. But hey Julian, how are you? You're working on, let me see. Like I said, it's been a while and I've been tinkering with the camera. So I've been, I have a little GoPro, which is what I use for the stream. So I took it off to record some projects, for the channel, which hopefully you'll see soon. And then I messed up a little bit of my setup. So the chat messages are right behind the camera, so that's why I'm moving it out of the way. So Julian, you're telling me that you're working on a code generator for the ESP32 and the ESP3266 to implement cool front ends with bidirectional communication. So the big question is, what are you using for bidirectional communication? And if it's not WebSockets, I'm curious to know. Hey Telectronics, how are you? Nice. I'm glad you were able to make it to one of these live streams. I started around 3 weeks ago. I did a whole bunch of streams in about a week and a half, and then I stopped because I was using the camera. I need to get better about setting a schedule, not disrupting the flow, because I enjoy doing this regularly. So yeah. I was saying before that I feel a little bit bad that it's been about a week and a half, 2 weeks since I've done this. So I miss you all. So you've been stuck with your mining gig, Omega Killer. I mean, gotta do what we gotta do, right? And I'd imagine that you're pretty swamped with work, and I don't know how your company is dealing with, the personal issues and maybe, having staff working at different shifts. I don't know. It's uncertain times, so I wouldn't be surprised if you're slammed with work as a result. How about you, wagon loads? You started doing some multi-Wi-Fi to save your home or at work? I see, but you don't have the save to database. And why So why multi Wi-Fi is the question. That's what I'm curious. I understand the project, but the multi Wi-Fi part, I love to know a little more. The people who've been on my streams before, I'm immensely curious and I'll ask questions. So don't feel pressure like you guys have to answer. But yeah. So Julian, yeah, WebSockets. It makes life easy, and I'll do a little demo with all of you shortly. And I felt a little sheepish doing the title for the stream, but I'm almost done with the project, and I didn't wanna use the keywords on the title of this stream so that when I release the full video tomorrow, people can just go to that one and don't go to the stream, because this is the long version, and I'm almost done with a video that will be released tomorrow, and I'll tell you all in a second what that is as soon as I'm done reading your questions and comments. So Julian, yeah, I mean, I'm always, if people post a link to their projects, or some of the viewers on the stream have YouTube channels, I always check them out. Sometimes I'll check them out during the stream. So I'm always curious, and I work by myself. This is my day job, is selling the electronics I use in my projects. So it's a company of one. Yes, I have some, my best friend helped me with the accounting and the inventory, but I don't get to the experience of working in a normal company, interacting with people. So people like yourself, all the makers, are my way of staying in touch with society. So I always love to see projects, chat with you. So yeah, send it over. And then I see. So you check your SSID wagon loads. That makes sense to determine if you're home. Okay. That's an interesting way of dealing with that. What do you plan on using for a database? Are you going to, I imagine that's to send data to an internet accessible server that maintains that status, right? So you can report it somewhere else and have it be accessible over the internet, right? And not only on your local network. So I'm curious. I want to do more projects, but they're so involved for being able to control your devices around the house from somewhere else. And as most of you know, I don't use other services. I don't use UBDOTs. I don't use Adafruit.io. I show you how to build it yourself. That's a little bit involved. Last time I did it, I did a Python web application that was running on Heroku, and I won't show the video, you can look for it. But Heroku is much like AWS for Amazon, or the Google Cloud, such that you can deploy your web applications. And it was a bit of work. It did well as a video, but I'm trying to focus on projects that I can knock on 3 to 4 day span, publish it, have a video release for all of you. But I want to go back to doing that too, using databases, and because I think that has some better application in the real world. Whereas some of the stuff we do in the local Wi-Fi, it's great, but I get a lot of questions. Hey, how do I take this project that I do on top of my desk for a broader application? And I want to try to help getting started with that transition. And that's kind of Wagon Loads, your message got held for review. I had to approve it. So you're using MySQL. Okay, nice. That's interesting. And again, same as I told Julian, if you ever have, a publicly accessible way of at least getting the gist of the project, whether it's a GitHub repo or, some sort of whatever, a Twitter video of your device working, I'm always curious to see projects. So feel free, to post any reference to the chat, or when we're like, for those of you on the Discord, which I need to remember to post a link we can share information there. So let me do that now. And I started using Discord about 3 weeks ago for communicating with folks that jump on the stream. So, it's a fun way of sharing our projects and, again, trying to solve problems when I'm not on stream. That way we have more of a live interaction. I read every comment that all of you post on the channel, so that's also a good way of reaching me, sending me an email. I always get to it, but it takes me longer. I think I'm a little bit more responsive on the Discord channel, and then we have a community. It's not only me answering questions. I have wonderful help from a few of you, which I'm grateful for. So yeah, I'll post the link right now on the chat, and then I'll show you how that looks like. Again, I'm sure most of you are Discord pros. I'm proud of myself because I knew of it. I knew what it's used for, but I hadn't used it since I didn't see need for it. But it's just getting started, so there are only a few messages, but sometimes I share what I'm up to, and anytime somebody has a question, I try to chime in and answer them. So, yep. I'm glad that you don't hate me, Julian, with a passion. No, being serious, glad you're a fan. I always appreciate the feedback, whether it's good or bad. It's obviously, I appreciate when it's good. It means that I'm doing a good job and that stuff that I do is actually useful. So that motivates me to keep going. So yeah, thank you. I'm glad to hear that you're doing fine, Telectronics. I'm doing well. Again, missing the streaming a little bit, but happy to get back to it. I'm glad that the audio is good. It's taken me quite a few tries to get things kind of functional. I'm still trying to improve the audio quality, and if it's a little muffled, it's because I have a MacBook Pro running all of this and the fan is just going crazy. It's one of those 2018 or 2019 MacBook Pros that there is something hogging RAM. So I'm running Chrome, I'm running Streamlabs OBS for controlling the streams, and I'm running almost 100% of the RAM and CPU capacity. So the fan lets me know that the computer is working hard. So to counter that, I have a filter on my streaming service that is great because you don't hear the fan, but you'll hear my voice a little distorted. So I'm exploring a few different options to counter that. But so the project I was working on, that I'm releasing a video tomorrow, is for controlling stuff with Twitch. Like, I've seen a few fun videos where Twitch streamers, and to make a small parenthesis, I wasn't into Twitch either. I thought about starting to stream on YouTube because I wanted to engage with the audience, have a more direct way of communicating. And then people started asking, do you do Twitch, etc., etc. So I went and checked Twitch, which I thought it was exclusively for gaming. Not exclusively, but the people who wanted to do more serious technical stuff, they would just use YouTube. And I think that holds true for general, but that doesn't mean that there aren't streamers doing electronics on Twitch. So anyway, I opened an account, and obviously I have like 2 followers, which I don't care. But anyway, one of the things that attracted me towards Twitch is the idea of controlling stuff. Like, I've seen videos on Reddit how people said Pokemon to be controlled by Twitch chat. So it's like, okay, I have a Twitch account. Let's see how to make this happen. And yeah, that's the project I'm working on. I'll release the first. I have, a few projects. It's not like I hate doing multi-part projects. So it's not a multi-part project. It's a single project where you'll learn how to use Twitch chat to control any device. So I'll, let me switch cameras so you'll see the device that I'm interested in controlling, or that I'm gonna show you how to control. It's just this little LED bar of WS2812B. Actually WS2812, but I'll post them as B because just the 12 alone are deprecated. So it's a white lie that you'll see on the video. You can call me out for it. But anyway, I want to show you how to go on Twitch chat and send a message and turn them on, turn them off, specify the color. So I'm hoping that people would like that. And with that, that'll be the basics. Any of you can take it further. So if you wanted to control a little servo, for like if there are streamers on if there are Twitch streamers on this stream, it might be useful if you wanted to set a little alarm when somebody, or a little bot. And I know there's already packaged stuff that you can pay or get for free, but this will be in only a few lines a way of doing it yourself from the Arduino IDE. So I think it's cool. I like it, and I always do projects that I find cool. Hopefully some of you will also find it cool. Hey Ajay, how are you? Dinesh, how are you doing? Glad to see you back here. Hey, my friend DIY in the ghetto, how are you? Still in Georgia? Omega Killer, you're an Apple hater. Why are you an Apple hater? I don't care. I'm not an Apple fanboy by any means. You might have heard the story before that I, grew up, not since I was little, but at some point I started getting interested in programming, electronics, microcontrollers, and I always sided with Linux because it's just the easiest way of compiling a stupid C++ program, right? Having access to a command line that was incredibly hard to do on Windows, and dealing with the path, etc. So because I was interested in programming and connecting stuff to the USB port without having to look for drivers, etc., Linux was always my weapon of choice. And then I went to grad school, and they gave me a free laptop. So it was mostly, and everybody else was using MacBooks, so I just sheepishly followed. But I'm glad I did, because it was so easy to go somewhere, give a presentation, like if you go to a conference, and plug it in, not worry about running out of battery like my Linux counterparts, or having to plug in the damn cable 45 times to get the projector recognized by the computer like my Windows counterparts. So because of that, because it made that specific part of my life easy, and I could still program using the command line, the terminal, I stuck with Apple. And ever since, I've been too lazy to go back. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So yeah, that's the main reason. And then if you're developing apps for iPhones, it's a necessary evil. So I'm sorry if you don't have too much sympathy for them, but they, at least it's an okay product, right? But yeah. Hey Mohan, hello from Hyderabad, India. Nice. Hello from Pasadena, California, in the west coast of the United States. Man, that's half a world, if not more, apart. Thank you for stopping by the stream. Let's see, Wagon Loads, you've seen a project on Hackaday that had a servo make a push puppet stand up. When a friend came online, it's I'm doing that before ESP32 that was probably pretty bold. And I went on YouTube, right, to see what was out there, and I saw a lot of projects using, well, first, they're great projects that didn't explain how exactly it worked, or they would use like Node.js and things that are too involved. I can show you the code. Let me go back to my regular screen so you guys can get a sense of just an example code. This is just for, and we can try it right now. So this will be an interactive stream. So this is how the code looks like. And this is not the entire code. Where did my code go? Oh, okay, so I gotta open up a different program because I'm recording the video right now. I took a break from recording the video. This is how far I am into making the video. I was like, oh, where's the rest of the code? So this is the one that I'm actually building for the video I'm releasing tomorrow. Let me, all right, I know where to find this guy. And then let me open, so those of you interested, this is how the code looks like. This should be under work. I think I already have it ready for uploading. It's still not on GitHub. It'll be there tomorrow. Just I want to double check that that it actually works as I record the video, and it's not there. Hang on. So it's probably still in my Arduino. There we go. So why am all right, still getting my bearings set up. So I didn't want to open it on Chrome. I wanted to open it here. Alrighty. So this is how that looks like. I'm using, so Julian, I'm using WebSockets for this one, and I can show, if you're interested, I'll pull up the API. You can use an IRC client, and I think I've seen a couple of people do that, but I'm just using straight up WebSockets. It's super easy. You send 3 messages. So, I have a few definitions, and this is all, everything is already gone. So I'm gonna show you my all authorization tokens and everything, but I've already deleted this and issued new ones. So you need a couple of secret things that you'll understand why tomorrow. And this is what you do. You just send over the WebSocket, and the API it has an API for a WebSocket. It's not you just can't hop on any old API that requires, say, an HTTP post type of request. This one actually has one for IRC client and one for WebSocket client. So I have a WebSocket client, like on the last video, if you've seen it, I had a WebSocket client and a WebSocket server. So anyway, I'm using the code from that WebSocket client to build another WebSocket client that sends these messages. So you need specifically the word pass with the token, the word nick with the nickname, or which is your username, etc., etc. And what this code does, that we're gonna try it right now, and you're gonna help me, is it just mirrors or echoes the messages that are posted on chat on Twitch on this specific channel, right? I cannot use your channel if you're a Twitch streamer. That authorization token and all that stuff, it's only for my own channel, my own applications that I build there. So with that being said, let me go ahead and upload it, and I'll just do a quick demo of this. I'm still not to the point that I'm controlling the LEDs. This will just echo the messages that we all send in chat, and I'll invite you to hop on chat, on the Twitch chat, and try to get a message echoed back to me. So I think that'd be kind of cool. All right, so correct board, we have the correct port. Make sure have my SSID password. Yeah, should be good. And yep, go ahead and upload it. Let's see. Oh man, we have a local. I always get people from all over the world, which I love. But very rarely do I get someone who is local. I know I have a bunch of people on the West Coast, like DIY in the Ghetto is one of them over there in Georgia, New Jersey. But people from the West Coast are rare to hop on the stream. I don't know why. Sometimes I do weird hours, but right now it's not bad, 10-15 in the evening. So hi from Pasadena, California, my San Franciscan friend. Let me see. Oh, Magnus. Hello, see. So another example of people all over the world. Hello from California all the way to Sweden. That's awesome. I wasn't a big fan of Sweden back in 2002. I'm originally from Argentina, and I think I saw in Argentina. Oh, Rico, yeah. You can ask my friend Rico 4096 how we felt about Sweden back in 2002 during the World Cup. But we don't talk about that. And Hyderabad, so sorry. Yeah, please help me with pronunciations for names. Like if you can do it phonetically, I'm always trying to get it as accurate as I can. So Hyderabad. Hyderabad? Is that better? I'll go I'll jump after the stream. I'll jump on Wikipedia and try the pronunciation key so I can get it right the next time. So Omega Killer, you're telling me you're a victim of T2 security chip crash? Huh. I'm not aware what that issue was. The butter. Oh, I see. Gotcha. So it just it killed the was it the whole computer that you're unable to use? So you're rocking and nothing wrong with that, man. I'm considering not an MSI gaming laptop, but I'm considering, because I don't know, you can see that I have like the electronics here on my desk, and it's a big desk, but I'm running out of space. So I wanted to buy another computer, hopefully a Windows machine, so I can run Streamlabs without the fan going crazy. And I just wanted a small form factor, so I consider getting something like a gaming PC, but in a small form factor, like the Mini ITX motherboard. And I have one in my cart on Amazon. I still haven't bit the bullet, because to run all this obviously needs to be at least an i7, if not an i9 type of processor, or the equivalent on the AMD side. So yeah, something like a intro level gaming computer. It's probably what I'll go for. So I'm not hating on your MSI, since I'll probably do the same. So try the Platform IO ID. I don't know why, I've always been reluctant to give the platform all the cloud Arduino stuff. And yeah, I don't, I have never been completely sold on using that. Like, I'm also, I need to do it, right? Like, if this is a tutorial channel, I need to give all of you different options. And if you prefer to use Platform IO, then, I shouldn't be the gatekeeper to keep you stuck with the Arduino IDE. I mean, and you can obviously go to different channels and look for different videos, and I'm sure there are plenty of tutorials out there on how to get started. But if you, for whatever reason, want to see one on this channel, like, I shouldn't be preventing you from doing so. So yes, it's on my to-do list. Sorry, for that I'll apologize, because I just been stubborn not to do it. At least like a getting started video. Capo de capo, Rico. Como amo. And let me see, wagon loads. You really need WebSockets that can link your website to your ESP3266. That is not terribly difficult. You need to run a WebSocket server on your website. So as long as you have access to a web server, then I mean, you can get around that. It's not a hard limit, but right now, even how can we do it? You can also just if you don't have access to a server, it doesn't matter. You can just reverse the logic. You can upload the client to the website, that is internet accessible, I would assume. and you can have that client make, respond to things that are sent from the ESP8266. So as long as messages get put on the socket, then you can communicate like that. And yeah, I need to think about it a little more, but that's not a bad idea for at least for me, who've been doing this for a while, for a quick and easy demo. So hopefully it can be used, it can be of use to you in a relatively short term, and to hopefully others. So let me write it down. my fancy pen. I posted it on Twitter the other day that I use, growing old is inevitable. It's a Dragon Ball pen, which I love. Growing old is inevitable. Growing up is optional. So yeah, I think I'll be childish, a man child as they call it, for a long time. So we're talking about WebSockets on, and this is, I need to paste this in front of me, because if I write it digitally on any like notes.txt that I have, it's not gonna get done. So it's gotta be pen and paper. So no, and this is one of the most interesting things for me to do the streams, is to, I have plenty of ideas for projects. I was looking for my sheet. I moved it to, I have a big old cabinet that the door I use as a refrigerator magnet type of thing, so I have it there. But I have plenty of ideas, but what better ideas than those that people actually watching the videos find useful. So WebSockets on website. All right. So WebSockets on website. It's going front and center. That doesn't mean that any idea on chat, will get front and center. If it's an idea that I believe, right, it's always a guess, but if I believe that it has, I'd use for a lot of people, then yeah, that goes front and center and gets made hopefully quickly. Let me see. Sorry if I miss a comment. Feel free to, if I miss one of your comments, feel free to, either, at me, so I get a notification, or just write the comment again. I don't get annoyed. It's like, hey, why are you asking me this again? But I saw, yeah, I need to, I'm happy to chat, but I'm also gonna show, and this was from Ajay. He's like, show us what you've made. And yeah, sorry, I'm going through all the messages. And Omega Killer tells me to go, so I'll show you in a second. And if, for those who gotta go and are here for quickly, I always make the streams public. So if you miss something, you can always come back and watch it a little later. Hopefully that's helpful. And then go with AMD. Yeah, I'm not on those camps. I don't have a preference, maybe a small preference for Intel, but it's not a strong one. I'll probably go with AMD just because I can get the same computational power for slightly cheaper usually. Yep, more cores for less money. So yeah, no, I feel, oh, you host, so you have access to, is it like an AWS Wagon Nodes where you can install anything on the server? Or is it more like a cPanel interface through GoDaddy where you can only put there like HTML files, CSS, or what have you? Maybe a little bit of JavaScript. Just out of curiosity, like I have just a small server. I pay like $25 a month for doing all sorts of fun projects, and that's the only reason I have it. But then it's on AWS. This is not obviously sponsored, but it just allows me to install anything. It's just like having my own server issues on the cloud, and I don't need to do any management. So Joe, how you doing? 3, oh man, that's That's quite the rig you have going there, man. PC Master Race kind of thing. No, that's I'm excited. Do you do any streaming or gaming, or what are you using all that computational power for? Yeah, sorry, Rico. I didn't mean to bring back some sad memories. Uh, so WebSockets, MySQL, and yeah, MQTT. MQTT, again, I haven't used it in like 3 years or even looked at it, and it used to be a little bit hard to run. To get the whole thing, the server, the broker, like you were better off using external services. I'm sure that's getting a little bit easier to do the whole thing yourself. I need to, that doesn't need to go front and center, because that's already at the top of my own to-do list that I need to do a comprehensive MQTT video for what's available in 2020. Okay, so is that Joanne, and is that roughly your sort of interval, 5 years? That sounds about right for me. Maybe a little bit less, 4 years till a major upgrade, at least for my main machines, which is one laptop and the one that I do now that I'm into video. Like, I'd imagine the one I use for doing video editing will probably get replaced in that time interval. Me alegra, Rico. ¿Cómo viene el tema de la cuarentena, che? Que bueno, acá estamos pendientes de la fría y un poquito complicado, ¿no? Que bueno, parece que no termina. So digital photogrammetry. Okay. I thought you were gonna say, no, man, I'm streaming what's the latest and greatest PC game. I can't remember. I don't know. Like, I know a lot of people playing the latest Call of Duty or something like that. So I thought you're a hardcore gamer, but you're a hardcore So is it programmatic, the way you do digital photo? I'm not gonna try to pronounce that word. I know what it is. It's hard to pronounce. Or do you use a software? Software packages and extract the data and then do processing on the data. So yeah, all right. So a site hosted on Namecheap. All right, I'll keep that in mind and focus on doing it just from the web page point of view, rather than go onto your server and install this, install that. Because I think that's more useful for a whole lot more people. And I'll probably do another one for folks using a server. I think for the MQTT stuff, that'll be catered towards people who have access to a full server running on the cloud. But this, since it can be done both ways, I'll choose the quote unquote more popular, slightly easier route. I see that you weren't impressed with it. What is it? The 10900K. I see. You don't like games anymore. I just got into games. Like, I've been so, trying to find different ways of putting my time to use over the past 2 months. That gaming was one of the things that I tried. But with the little break I've gotten in chat, let me show you what we came out to do. So let me see. Bring up a server browser window, and I'm gonna go to Twitch. So, and this is kind of silly, like, I never thought I would use Twitch, so I never even got the username, which is, again, I chose Acrobatic for the name of the company and everything that I do, because I don't know, it has the word robot in it. It sounds like I'm always like juggling a million things. It's like, okay, Acrobat and robot, acrobatic. Okay, that kind of makes sense. And it was available on Facebook, Twitter. Okay, book it. That's what I'll call the company. It's the LLC, etc. But I didn't do Twitch, right? When Twitch came out, it's like, oh, that's just for gaming. So that means that I get to settle, like somebody took acrobatic with a C, so I have to put a K on it. And I'm sure people is like, oh, I couldn't find you on Twitch. Like if I ever start streaming this kind of stuff on Twitch, then people are not gonna find me. But that's what I get for thinking, oh, there's no way I'm going to use this. So what I'm going to do, hopefully this works. We'll see. So, meaning just because you know, I started this stream in the middle of making the full video, like documenting everything. Like before, I just wrote the code, tested it really quick. It's like, okay, this works. Let me just go through the process, record it, and then publish it this weekend. So I'm in the middle of that. I suspect it'll work, but anyway, we might need to do a little bit of tinkering. So if I reset my ESP32, reset it once again. This is the kind of things that you don't see you don't see when, you know, when you watch a YouTube video, whether it's mine or whomever your favorite YouTuber is. It doesn't necessarily like work the first time, right? Like even connecting to Wi-Fi, like I just need to reset it a bunch of times. But when I go and I edit the video, it looks seamless. It looks like, oh, he connected it to USB and it just works. And no, that's the video editing portion of it. So you can see that. Let me go to, what do I want to show you? I want to show you the code on the Arduino IDE. So I gotta unminimize this window. And the messages you'll see on the serial monitor. So that's just the response from the API. Again, I'm using a WebSocket client to, you know, use the authorization code and a few other things to send just these 3 messages to the WebSocket. Pass, the token, nick with the nickname, and then the client ID for my channel. And then I get this response, right? So I'll leave this here. And then, you know, I could use some assistance right now. And I'll show you why I'm saying that. Let me minimize this. So if I go on Twitch and find the chat, come on. All right, where does the chat go when I collapse it? No, there we go. And I'll just do test. Then if this demo decides to work, I should see the message test printed here. And yep, it's right there. Sometimes it takes a while, even though it's a WebSocket and it's supposed to happen in real time, then it doesn't, because, you know, there's delays between servers, etc., etc. But anyway, that's good enough. If one of you wants to, this is what I meant before, it's like I could use some help. If you want to jump on the channel, you don't need to subscribe. I think you need to create an account. I'm not sure. Again, I'm no expert on Twitch, but if you have a Twitch account and want to log in and send messages, no, that are hopefully nice. I think it's auto moderated too. No profanity. You know, we'll see the messages printed out here. And anyway, once you have that, then you can do anything, right? And I guess to interact with bots, and you can set this up however you want. I'll actually, for the demo I have set up for tomorrow, I'll make it so that people have to use JSON formatting, so that people get used to using JSON formatting, which is a good thing. But I guess, you know, to interact with a bot, usually you need an exclamation point in front, right? And you can do that, right? And on the Arduino side, on the Arduino code side, you can parse and ignore messages that do not have an exclamation point. So this is how that looks like. And now it's more, as you saw, more in real time. So the idea for the video tomorrow is that, well, people, again, for those of you arriving a little bit, after the stream started, on my workbench, this is what I have. I have just an array of 16 WS2812 LEDs. I'll call them WS2812B LEDs tomorrow, but I'm lying. And, I want to make people go to Twitch chat. And again, my Twitch chat, I'll try something interesting and I'll explain a little later, but they can try it for themselves. And the idea is that if I want to turn on LED 0, I'll specify the index of the LED, and then as a JSON string, that should be good enough. I was thinking maybe I should use like single quotes for the string, but no, just regular formatted JSON string, and then 3 numbers specifying their RGB intensities, red, green, blue intensities of the LED. So something like this, like full red, no green, full blue for a nice magenta color. And then when I receive that message on the ESP32, then I'll parse it. I'll say, oh, okay, this is a valid message because it starts with an exclamation point, and it's a properly JSON formatted string. So let me try. So I need to do a bunch of checking. That's what's a little bit annoying. I never do ever checking on any of my codes. That's up to you when you get to use it. But the idea is, if it's a properly JSON formatted thing, I'll look for, on the key side, which is this first number, I'll get the index, and on the value side of the only thing that I expect, then the colors. I mean, you can do more interesting things, but again, that's up to you. You can accept arrays where you specify a bunch of colors at once. Again, I like to make my code as simple as possible so that you can take it and do whatever you want. So this is the secret project, and I was pretty excited because I tried a few different approaches, and then I saw that, I can use WebSockets, and it was super, for me, who've been playing with WebSockets and this stuff for a long time, it was relatively straightforward to do. So I was happy. And then I didn't want to put Twitch on the name of the stream, because then when I release the video tomorrow, people are going to be, I already saw that. And it's like an hour long or however long we take, which I love doing long streams, but people are not going to, try to find information if they want to use it for themselves over an hour and a half. So I'll wait to release that video, and then I'll change the title of the stream. I'm not clickbaity, like all my titles are to the point. And if this one felt clickbaity, there was, I think, a reasonable reason behind it all. But yeah, no, rico. Yeah, estamos pendientes ahí de cómo evoluciona todo, pero sí, está complicada la situación, che. Sí. I see. So for you, Joe, you were waiting for them to go, from like 30 to 32 or from 32 nanometers for those 7 years. And and they've done some shady things. The things that get me with Intel are, they're underhand deals with Microsoft to slow Windows down and run, better on Intel processors and stuff like that. There's some shady stuff going on. But anyway, I could write a whole rant about that. But so on that end, I feel you. So you render more than you play games? Yeah. it is a no-brainer solution for me for my video editing. I feel that I won't name it again just for those of you opposed to it, but my hardware is arguably the more appropriate one for people who do, animation video editing, right? It's just the hardware as a whole seem to be going in one direction, and that's what I use, and that's my main use lately, video editing on computers. And now I just jump on doing streaming, and it's funny, I'll say it just this one last time. So I found that Apple sucks a little bit for streaming, and wanted to use Streamlabs OBS instead of regular OBS. Yes. Support open source, but sometimes the paid options, whatever. I'll leave it at that. Open source is awesome, right? So there is OBS, which is open source, community based, and then there is Streamlabs OBS, which is a sort of private spin from a company on OBS, and I use that one. And the beta version just got released for Apple like 3 months ago. It doesn't, needless to say that it doesn't run all that well. It's interesting. So I've been toying with the idea of getting a Windows machine just to run Streamlabs OBS and not have to deal with a fan going crazy and me having to use filters on the mic. So yeah, it's interesting. I see. So all right, I will take your recommendation, Omega Killer, and wait it out, see what's coming next as well. Yeah, Plasma, how you doing? I don't think you missed a whole lot. I did a little demo of what I'm working on. I'm happy to repeat it in a little bit. And yeah, if you have any questions, by all means ask them. I was just going through the chat and reading some messages and talking some computer setups, some ESP32 interesting projects, ESP8266, a lot of WebSockets, a couple of people on stream doing stuff with WebSockets. So just general chat surrounding technology, both on the microcontroller and the microprocessor side of things. So welcome to the stream. Oh, okay. So yeah, a little bit farther. So for the 10 nanometer jump, okay. Sí, no, Brasil rico está jodido es poco, ¿no? Creo que hace como 2 días pasaron el total de casos o el total de muertes pasó a los que hay acá, pero por lejos o por bastante. Así que por suerte estamos un poquito mejor, ¿no? Bueno, acá más o menos, pero allá en la Argentina también. So Telectronics, do I know if there is a way to route data from a USB printer over ESP32 Wi-Fi? So meaning, do you want to make a wireless printer using an ESP32? Is that the correct way of looking at it? Because that, I don't think there is. Just that protocol, not the USB protocol, but the communication with the printer, right? You require a driver, and those usually are meant for operating systems. Even the open source ones would be hard to port to an ESP32 architecture just to get the code to compile on a, the, what is it, Tensilica chip on the ESP32 would be hard. And if that's what you're shooting for, if you don't mind me making a suggestion, like if it's for making a USB printer wireless, something like a Raspberry Pi, and I know this is obvious for some people, since it has an operating system and some access to drivers, that's a good use for something of a higher level, right? Other than a microcontroller or a system on chip like the ESP32. But maybe I'm not understanding the project correctly. I see. So no, I haven't. So Joanna, this is all super interesting because I'm talking about 32, right? Which is a long time ago, and I know there was a bit of a race for that one, but that's when I stopped looking at microprocessor technology in general. So it's super interesting to get a little bit of an update from this conversation. Yeah. Oh, wagon loads. If software could talk, right? Yeah, having a kill switch for old software and deprecating stuff. The recent update to Catalina, which is the latest version of OS X. The number of apps on my dock that had a little circle crossed off that didn't work anymore, and that was more of a push. It's not, Apple being Apple, but that was more of a push of everything running 64-bit everything. So if you had a program that was 64-bit but had some dependencies on 32-bit libraries, they were gone. And this was not too long ago, so a lot of people were pissed. And and oh man, that'd be interesting. Omega Killer, if that happens, might not be a good. I mean, if the because of how the economy is, although tech has bounced back, and the sort of the chip technology market has also bounced back from the prices that the stock market had a couple of months ago. But if that's actually coming, it might not be a good time. It might not be a bad time to look into buying a stock or two for AMD. That would be massive if that happens. So Joe, you've been in IT since '88, and you got your first PC in '78. Man, all right, that's awesome, man. For me, my first PC was a 286. And my family actually bought it for my sister, who was interested. She's 8 years older than I am, and she was interested in studying computer engineering / computer science. So they bought her like a 286, might have been a 386, and it's like I used it to play games. Like she showed me like how to play a couple of games on just DOS. And ever since it's like, oh, how does this work? I need to figure this out. So but that was probably like in the 90s. So 90s, no, late 80s. And then Antic Magazine by 14, nice. That's awesome. Yeah, no, I agree with Omega Killer. That is awesome, man. To just see almost the complete evolution of a technology, right? I think it's interesting. For us, maybe the equivalent, although at least for me, it came at a later age, would be the cell phone to that extent, right? It's a decade later. So I've seen almost the entire evolution of the cell phone, once cell phones became mainstream, like I've seen that evolution. I missed out on the first few years of computers, maybe the first decade. And then, so Joe, Yeah, that's a physical limit, right? Like uh, the theoretical limit. I thought it was even 6 nanometers, uh, but I could be misremembering, but it's around there. Sí, no, en Argentina respetaron. A mí me impresiona, ¿no? Acá los yanquis que, viste, arman quilombo dependiendo del estado donde esté rico. Allá, sí, todo el mundo derecho, ¿no? Y si le contás acá a un yankee que, no sé, sobre todo los que conocen los quilomberos que somos los suramericanos, si le contás, no, sí, están acatando las normas, se re sorprenden, sí. O sea, pero, pero bien, listo. Let me see. So, P, so peer-to-peer ESP32 work for printers. I do not know. Like I haven't used P2P on ESP32, and I'm not exactly sure how how that would work. But so Telectronics, do you agree? Maybe I'll search on Google, see what you guys are talking about. Huh. That's kind of interesting. So you bought 25 ESP32s. Oh man. So is that for the project you were once describing? I know you were doing, weren't you doing some stuff on the medical side of things, Omega Killer, or am I misremembering? And so if I'm not misremembering, were those chips for that application? And yeah, if you go cutting edge, it'll be tough to get stuff to compile. Um, Incorporating. I remember just when the ESP32 first came about, it took 6 to 8 months for it to be straightforward to add it to an Arduino IDE, and it was very, very messy. And now, you just add the packages.json and all the boards populate. So yeah, it's come a long way, but yeah, it usually lags a little while, understandably, right? And it has a lot of community support, but Arduino has to also take care of their own. So, you know, I think they've embraced it more lately, but I know 4 or 5 years ago they were starting to work with Texas Instruments. There was a Texas Instrument board for Arduino, and they got that corporate relationship. And I think, I don't know, you can disagree with me. They started overlooking the community a little bit, but then those companies, right? They just wanted to poke their noses and not really follow through with a plan. And as they started going away, you know, as it should have been expected, then I think they probably came back and embraced the community more once again. Oh man. So wagon loads running OS 7.5. I have not known any other OS other than, yeah, the most recent. I don't think I even did. I ever run 10.4? Was that Tiger or something like that? I think I started at 10.5. Yeah, and I know for the single core ESP32s, um, if you're not using Bluetooth, then yeah, I mean, why waste all that power, right? But Commodore 64, do you still have it around, wagon loads? Oh man, I wish I would have kept. Like, I'm starting to collect stuff, but everything is new, or and when I say stuff, it's technology. Like, I don't donate, or I don't think I ever sold that computer, but I give them away. Now I want to sort of collect them, same every time I go back home, I try to bring back a console. Like, that's one thing. Like a Super Nintendo, a Nintendo 64. And yeah, try to keep those. And the idea is to have one of these days, big enough workspace that I can try to set a few of them up and have them just side by side. That's my dream. Oh man, Atari 800. That's one that I'll buy on eBay to have in my collection one day. Man, you guys are nerding it out, making me all sorts of jealous. Designing websites on an SE30. That's awesome. Sí, Rico, somos todos impresentables, como dice mi Jermucha. So were the ESP32s for that project then, Omega Killer? Let me see. So I'll close this and I want to see. So you guys were talking about P2P ESP32. But my question is, how would you communicate with a USB printer using this? Is there an example? I don't know. So yeah, so this is what I was trying to say, that you need a driver and act as a USB host to communicate with the printer. But maybe you guys are seeing something that I'm failing to do so. So yeah, let's see. The basic idea is the ESP is connected to the board's serial. Yeah. And obviously, I think this is probably for a 3D printer, but still. Yep. And then my question is now, what are you talking about? So in my mind, I just went to like a Brother or a freaking laser inkjet printer. But are you talking about a 3D printer? Not that I think about it. Still, right? Like you still have that your focus on the USB, or you could question what's in regards to the USB interface. But if it's a 3D printer, then like the idea on this website is to probably bypass the USB interface and connect directly to serial, and that might work. Again, you need to have a way of knowing what commands to send, but I just don't think I have a good grasp on what you're trying to achieve. Rico, ¿vos en qué estás laburando, che? Y me decís a mí que estoy despierta esta tarde, pero seguís el mismo ejemplo, ¿eh? Hey, Adrian, how are you? You want to build a Wemos D1 Mini ESP8266 drone, and you should send me a video of it, because that's a project I want to do. But I was saying before how projects that take a long time, I'm afraid of. I think I'm still at the point that I need to release content a little bit quicker. So I would love to spend 2 weeks building a drone, but I'm still at the point, making shorter videos, and again, trying to get the good old YouTube algorithm to, keep me relevant. I think if I take 2 weeks, people won't publish a video. It will forget who Acrobatic is. So I always struggle with that, with pursuing a little bit more of a complex project. So Dinesh, how about a project on lighter based robotic vehicle? So same, I would love to make something super, not super complex. I don't think it has to be necessarily complex. I do have a video that I can pull up. Let's see. Let me do it here. On, using lighter. You might have seen it already. And then I have a video on building robotics vehicles with a Raspberry Pi with an ESP32. So yeah, so you can combine them, right? And I know that's not a great answer, that's why I laugh. But say I have a video of driving a little robotic vehicle with a PS4 controller. So you have ways of driving your lighter around and collecting data. And I know probably the idea is to make it autonomous, right? But for the time being, these are ideas that you can use for building just different types of robots. And yeah, this is the one I wanted to show you on just how to use they all work the same, whether it's the RPi lighter or what was this one called, the YD lighter X4. They'll work pretty much the same, so you have a way to get started. Yeah. Let's see. No, your wagon loads. I'm reading the sad news that your Commodore died. It's painful. Yeah. I want a complete collection. I don't know how complete it'll be, but like a mini museum of different machines that are all working. So at some point, when it makes financial sense, start going on eBay, and a Commodore 64 needs to be in there. I don't know if you've seen. You probably have. David Watts was working. He's another maker, and if you follow me, you probably follow a couple of others that are somehow connected. And there's this YouTuber David Watts who has been playing around with Commodore 64, doing really cool stuff. So since watching some of his videos, it's been a reminder that I would like to have. To add a few, I'll say a couple, but I'm really more than a handful, right? So I'll say a few toys to play around with, but everything in due time. For now, I'll just stick with the with the electronics that I can actually fit in my desk. I see. Glad to hear, Omega Killer, that you were able to complete 10 of them, and hopefully they're being used, or they serve that purpose, because I'm always tipping my hat to people who are trying to build devices that are useful for society. So kudos on that. And way to go on figuring out how to run your code using the ESP IDF. And then yeah, Joe, that's the dream, right? Having a basement full of old machines, and again, hopefully some of them working as well, not just sitting there accumulating dust. I mean, to each their own. If you just don't have the time, or you just want to have them for the memories, good for you. For me, yeah, just putting that little extra on having them running, that's the challenge I want to take on. Let me see. So yeah, no, retro gaming boxes, that's also gonna be one wall of computers, or one side of the room, and the other just filled with consoles, right? And a few of them. No, gracias por el aguante, Rico. Fuera joda. Pero no, si tenés que ir, gracias por siempre por la compañía. Vos siempre pasás, viste, si ahora, cuando los comienzo acá a las 3 de la mañana, que no sé si está saliendo, bueno, saliendo al laburo, lo de saliendo entre comillas, pero sí, siempre pasás por acá, así que se aprecia, ¿no? Oh man, Joe, I don't even know what a VIC-20 is. That's and I should be ashamed. So let me see. Oh, wow. Okay. So I should have. I think I knew that or have heard about it, but yeah. Nah, my memory of computer starts at the 64. Dang. All right. No, yeah, my first computer was for programming logo, right? Like the little turtle drawing lines, and that was probably like a 386. But I didn't get to use computers in school until I think the 5th or 6th grade. So yeah, I had the one at home a lot earlier than when I started using them at school. So you've seen a dual boot 64 using an Arduino? Okay. I've seen people, so we're talking about Twitch and streams or whatnot, and I've seen people starting to put Raspberry Pis, just, with a touchscreen display, kind of. I'll show one. So, something that looks like this, right? With a Raspberry Pi on the back for monitoring their, in their nice gaming rigs with all the LEDs, blah, 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 just to monitor temperature, blah, blah. They'll have it on top of the case. So, yeah. I mean, completely different than vintage computers for selecting ROMs. But, yeah, I thought that was kind of interesting. And I've seen probably 2 or 3 within the past 2 weeks. So I don't know if it's a fad for people. So the PET, let me see, Commodore PET. Oh man, okay, that does look like a freaking tank. Dang. I know that guy. That's awesome. Yeah, no, I would love to collect vintage, again, computers and consoles, video game consoles. Ah, no, don't worry. I again, the first computer from my memory, it's a C64, so. Dale, Rico, muchísimas gracias nuevamente y bueno, a descansar, ¿no? a whopping 125k of RAM, Joe. That's awesome. So I take it that it is functional. Cool. How many games in your collection? I don't know. And if people have any suggestions, that's something I wanted to ask on what to control from, the WebSocket Twitch thing that I showed. Let me know. I just thought, a lot of you are doing LED projects with a NeoPixel / WS2012. So I thought it'd be a fun one. But I have another project that I'm developing in parallel, where you can do things when you get a subscriber or you get a follow, but everything in due time. I don't want to give too much away, but since I started tinkering around with Twitch and seeing some of the fun things we can do, I figured I give it a try and making the code a little more useful than what I found. So let me see. I might try to, while I am on stream, now that the chat is calming down a little bit, try to finish this. And what I'm missing now is, as you saw, if I open the serial monitor and I go on Twitch, where's my window? And then, I write a message like this. I'm gonna be, I have a tiny screen on the one, which this kills me. Like the Arduino IDE, if I have a window, like I have 3 monitors. There's a laptop down here where you're seeing the browser right now. And for the Arduino IDE, if the window is not on that display, the IDE crashes. So I don't know if they cannot handle multiple displays on Mac. Something funky is going on. I haven't tried reinstalling because I don't want to. But anyway, so reduced to a 13-inch, or I guess, no, this is a 16-inch screen, which is not great. But then, when I reduce the size of the windows, then it goes into mobile display and it messes things up. So that is why I need to be switching back and forth. So if I go back to the chat, and this is what I want to do, right? Send a message like this, parse it on the Arduino side, and just get these values, send them to the WS2812s. The first thing I'll do, let me see. Oh man, yeah, parting ways with vintage stuff. That's it. At least for me, it's tough. That's why you'll see my reaction, like, oh man, or before when some of you told me that something had stopped working. Yeah, that's always a little painful. But Infocom Sork. And yeah, I need to, expand my repertoire of knowledge of vintage games, because I thought video games did not start with Super Mario 1 or Mario Bros. But I played a few Atari games back in the day, but ever since Nintendo came out, I never went back to play vintage stuff. And I played Atari when Atari was a thing, like pre NES release, and I was, before it was available in South America. And yeah, I need to go back again and spend some time exploring the differences of the early games. But yeah, I mean, and obviously Pong, right? That's a must-have. But yeah, no, for me, again, I want to wait until I have space and I can actually use them. But I plan also on getting a few for the collection. So Wagon Loads, you made a 2-state toggle switch on your website, but you would like to find out how to make a momentary push button. So a button is just a button, right? It's just an HTML element, and it depends on how you're getting that event, the click event. There's a bunch of events that are available when you interact with the HTML element, a button that doesn't, well, I don't want to get derailed too deeply, but any HTML event, any HTML element has a bunch of events, so you can use the event that makes that button behave like a toggle switch, or you can use it as what you have the on off. But that's either the event that you're using, or if you're using JavaScript to process those events, it depends on your JavaScript code. Yeah. And I mean, if you have the code, you feel free to just send it over. But I don't. I'll procrastinate a bit on working on what I'm supposed to be working on. I don't know. This is my free time, actually, so I jump on stream to hang out with some of you, and I'm happy to work on different things. But I think I can, hook up something really quickly here. Let's see. Yeah, like Joe is saying, on mouse down, you can do on change. You can use a few events to, just get the functionality. So it's not, you're not missing an element or anything of the sort. So if I go to my home directory, and I can create just an index.html file, and just for the sake of simplicity, I'll just create a button element, and I'll just call it test, and then we'll start trying to figure out exactly what functionality do you want. So you can do this in many ways. You can use JavaScript, you can use parameters on the HTML tag, and this might be already like all news to you, but just trying to be as clear as possible. So the event that Joe also, will that work? Like if you do on mouse down, how do we? Yeah. So if you do on mouse down, something like alert, and then you can do click. But yeah, if you want to do something like sending stuff to a MySQL database, doing it like I have it on screen right now. Let me make sure that, yeah, like I have it on screen right now, then it gets a little tricky. You probably want to use just a bunch of JavaScript, maybe use something like jQuery to make your life easy. Although if you look at all my code, I try to do just vanilla JavaScript, but again, for getting things done quickly, you can use libraries. Oh yeah, that's so. Hey Dustin, how you doing? But Joe, it's funny. I was saying before how there's a few makers that were somehow connected. So Dustin, who just jumped on stream, is one of them, and the one I was talking about before, who was doing some work with the Commodore 64, is David Watts. So similar last name, but the German guy with the robots today, he's also in this space of makers, and we all kind of know each other and talk to each other. So I think his username is Major Makes, and he was inviting us to go control some of his robots. So that was a lot of fun. I'm glad you're doing well, Dustin. Also, getting back on the stream wars. I hadn't streamed. I was saying before how I was using my stream camera, which is a little GoPro. I was wearing it around the house to record a couple of projects that I'm doing where I need to use it, and I was too lazy to stop working on those projects and put it where it should be for my streams. So glad to be back at it. And Yeah, the two what's who are not related. Yeah, no, it's kind of funny. So yeah, Sion, the unexpected maker, is also from this group, and I think it's a, in my opinion, it's a great group of people, and somehow they manage to come together. And I think about a month and a half ago, kind of pull me in. The other one being Brian Locke, that you might have seen him too on the Unexpected Maker stream. Last name spelled Lough, and yeah, we're all talking, and yeah, we're all trying to see what people are up to. But the German guy, yeah, Clem, he's also in those groups. So yeah, and I know, man, Sion. The other day with the S1, like I was on that stream as well, right? And I was sort of carrying that load with them, because again, I've never tried to manufacture boards myself. Even when I was doing a lot of design of my own products, I was always handed off. So I'm really, I told him on his second to last stream, like, I'm really rooting for you, because yeah, that'd be awesome to see that whole process from crowdfunding to contract manufacturing to assembling himself by hand, just the different phases and the different challenges for each business model. He's exploring them all, so really rooting for him. But yeah, and Brian is also, pretty cool guy. If I'll vouch for him. And another one, in the group is a bit loony. So Joe, you might have seen him too. But yeah, if that worked for you, wagon loads, let me know with the on mouse down. But it sounds that if you again want to send stuff to a database, you probably want to do this, something similar, but you'll need to write a little bit of JavaScript to do that. And happy to, if you send me an email with code, or chat up where you're caught up, where you're having trouble, then I'm always happy to help. Let's see, close this and save that in the HTML for later if needed. But for now, so you have a Polish neighbor, Joe. He's yeah. I couldn't tell what his accent was at first, and then for a long I know he's in Germany, right? So I always said, well, it doesn't. I have plenty of German friends out here in LA, or I've had my fair share of friends, and didn't quite sound like that, but yeah. So now it makes sense. I found out he was of Polish descent pretty recently, like maybe a month, 2 months ago. So funny guy as well, pretty cool. So that's why I'm pleasantly surprised that this group of people, are talking and are very supportive of each other. So I'm glad to have been pulled in and form part of that, because it's a cool group of people. The Luke Mom No Computer, I have not seen that one, so I'm gonna save it. YouTube. Alrighty, let's see what we can do with this guy. All right, so when I receive a message, I'm going to try to parse it, and that's gonna require a little bit of error checking, but I'm never too thorough on that. So let's see how robust we can make it. I'm hoping to, my idea is to have, the Twitch stream running with just the camera pointed at the LEDs, and people can just hop on chat, write something, and see the LEDs turn on to whatever color they specify. And I want to leave that running when the video is published, the video on how to build your own, etc., etc. And at the end of it, I'll point people to the Twitch channel where you can interact with this and see it in action. So that's the hope. But with that, I kind of have to make the code a little bit more robust than I normally would. I mean, it shouldn't be a problem, right? And I know one of my favorite, so I'll tell you about one of my favorite YouTubers. The name of the channel is Useless Duck Company, and he made a talking banana that was controlled by Twitch. So it was speech to text, and anyway, when you would type something on the chat, the banana would move the mouth, and there was a speaker inside of it that would turn speech or text to speech, and people started obviously going with curse words, which were fine. He was able to filter them out, but there are words that cannot be said, otherwise like your account will get suspended. And people found very creative ways of getting the banana to say that. I don't think I'll have the same problem with 16 LEDs. So yeah, that was a safe choice in that regard. Like even if I did a matrix, I didn't want people writing stuff that they shouldn't be writing, so that's why it's the simplest thing I could think of. Let me see. All right. So one thing I haven't done yet is figure out if the LEDs actually work. Like I soldered everything for the video, and again I just tried seeing if I could receive the messages, and I said, okay, done, let me record the video. So I'll use fast LED to test out whether I did a good enough job of soldering. Hopefully I did. And if I didn't, I'll go ahead and fix it real quick, and in the video tomorrow it'll look as if the first time around it worked. So that's some of the magic that happens behind the scenes. And then yeah, I also like Joe to see something visual, whether when people hop on the stream or if they follow. It's if I'm on the other end, like where you guys are right now, it's always nice feedback, nice way of interacting with the streamer. Yeah, I'm starting with Twitch because that's a little bit easier, I think. And I've also tinkered around with the YouTube API, so that's also gonna come. Like for those of you who have a YouTube channel, it's a little bit trickier, but it can be done as well for using chat messages to do some fun stuff. So I'll do it, both for Twitch and for YouTube. We'll see how it goes. And fast LED. And let's try first light. So let me take this out. I think it's 6. And this will be a crapshoot. I always forget. Actually, I think I used fast LED on one of my latest videos, so I'm just gonna see what class I'm using there. Yeah, when I was doing this, I think no, using Adafruit. Where was I using fast LED? Oh man, it's been a while. Let's see. And it'll be interesting to see. I'm sure it has. We're talking about ESP32, ESP8266, and the new solo chips that Omega Killer was working on or was working with. So it's interesting. And I always say, cutting edge technology, it's hard for it to be compatible with everything. So it'll be interesting to see. I'm sure it has fast LED being made compatible with the ESP32. So all right. Let's try, even though okay. So these are the ES2812s. We'll try that ordering, see if that works. And why? All right, so do I just define it and it ignores it? Yeah, obviously it's not part of the template parameters, so it'll ignore it, but it does have to be defined. Wagon Loads, has anyone had a problem with the last boards manager? So you had to revert back? What kind of problems are you having? You wouldn't be able to see the boards or something like that? Dude. Invalid pin specified. All right. So that's because I'm being a little bit silly. So this is connected to D6, but I gotta find the ESP32 equivalent of the E6. So hang on, show you what I'm up to. That way we can suffer it together. Just trying to figure out. Let's see, focus. Just a little mapping between D6 and the IO equivalent. So I'm trying to read the labels here. So D6, that's 4 from the bottom. So 3v3, IO5, 2, 3, 4. So it's 19. 2, 4, 3, 3. Yeah, so it's pin 19. Go back to my computer. No such thing as 6. See if with that pin it actually works. Nope. Now the problem might be pin 13. Or actually, yes, that was a warning. What the heck? All right. So I think it's a little promising. Let me see, can I do this? Take myself out of the equation. And at least the first LED, it's now dark. So it is the right data pin. But now we need to figure out which of these guys we use. So let's try 2812B. Should have probably tried 2811. I see, so wagon loads. For you, it's scrambled text on the 1306. That's interesting. And then if you revert back, it works. Yeah, that I've never seen something like that before. Okay. I'll switch over to the LED screen if I actually get it to work. Alright, so that one didn't work either. Let's try 11. Hey BJ. Oh, don't worry. You always don't worry about missing the stream. I need to get better about setting somewhat of a regular schedule and notifying people, like posting something on Twitter or our Discord server. So yeah, I also need to make sure that for people who do not want to miss it, make their lives easier. So thank you for stopping by and saying hello. What am I doing? I don't need this. Not working. All right, let's try. The NeoPixel library. He's trying to figure out if the LEDs actually are properly soldered. And yeah. NeoPixel. Because yeah, I could try all the different methods on the first slide sketch and never get it to work, and it's just the LEDs not being soldered properly. So this will serve as yet another sanity check. LED pin 19. All right. LEDs ain't happy. Man. See, like the tiniest flicker on the first LED. So I wonder if it's just a software issue. I'm being I know what the real problem is, but I don't want to admit it. Not gonna lie, I hated soldering those two boards together just because, yeah. Doing just pin headers to surface mounting pin headers to a PCB is horrible. So I went through like 3 different PCBs before getting it kind of right. And yeah, usually get away with combining Omega Killer, the 5 volts with the 3.3, but that might, at least with this older WS2812s, might be more of an issue. But usually I'll do power on 5 volts and signal on 3.3, and that usually works. I've done plenty lately, but that doesn't seem to be the case now. Let me see. I have the video where I have the VU meter video. YouTube Acrobat. Just gonna this is my best way for finding the code. Yeah, I've gone through this pain, quote unquote pain, before. So what better way of reminding me? So this one I did use fast LED. Yep, and I have, thankfully, I started taking good notes after having to do stuff like this multiple times. So D6 is 19, fast LED. I don't know, man. I'm just gonna try this one. And if this one doesn't work, then for sure I need to get back to the soldering table. Alright. Pixels, no microphone, just on the LED pin. We won't need this. Brightness. Yeah. Alright. So alright. This should be it. Probably just save this and add it to the repository with Blink for WS2812s, since I have to do this multiple times. Alright. Everything looks good. Let's give it a go. Yeah, no, Dustin. It's funny, the more videos I post, I think I'm just getting repetitive. That's the only indicator on being more and more self-referential that I end up going through my code or my videos. It's like, how the heck do I do this? I think that just means I need to come up with fresh ideas. But it is nice to hold yourself accountable to an extent. But no, you're absolutely right, Omega Killer. That could be an issue. But I suspect just the soldering in general. So let's see how I messed that up. And actually, we can have one more sanity check. Let me put the workbench up. I can bring the little. I haven't torn down the old shield I made for precisely the project that I'm using the code for. It's right there. I'm not gonna be lazy and reuse that one. I'll get a new one to work. But might need a little bit of resoldering. And this guy. I'm gonna get the cables out of the way. Reset with reset. And of course, so yep, let's start my soldering. Why? This one lights up as it should. Alright. Turn on the soldering iron. Then what I was talking about before is doing, let's see, getting focus is like down here. These are pin headers like these that I have to solder to the PCB. So I need to get them hot enough to, you know, for that soldering to happen kind of smoothly. You don't get a cold blob there. And if I heat this cheap PCB hot enough, the pads come off. So anyway, that's why I hate doing this. It's not all that hard, but down here with this pin headers, it's annoying as all heck. But it's the nature of the beast. I have D6, ground, 5 volts. Everything looks relatively okay, but I'm gonna clean up these solders. Alright. Well, I'm happy to announce that I found the problem, and I should probably not cover this with the chat. I had two wires mixed like an idiot. So yay. Troubleshooting. Obviously none of this will be on the actual video that gets published tomorrow. Everything will work magically the first time, but those of you who watch the stream will know the truth. And yeah, because it's such a minor detail that I could set up. You know, I usually, when I do the soldering, I have my quad hands, you know, which is the third hand or whatever that you use to prop things up, and it gives it a nice yellow background for the assembly. But I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna fix it. So when you see the video, when you see that segment, you're gonna see me soldering the cable to the wrong pin, and you will know the truth. But I'll just leave it like that for the purpose of the video. I just had ground and beta crossed. my very unorthodox, for doing things quickly for soldering. I don't mind doing it like this, and probably not the most pristine way of going about soldering. And I've seen some of the other streamers with their fancy setups and the fancy microscopes, which I love to see. And we're talking about an unexpected maker, and for me, I'm like the quick and dirty, just like, okay, get it done, get back to the coding, and get back to the video production. So I'll always practice. I do have my fan running or whatnot, my fume extractor, but always be safe, and don't necessarily do as I do. This is just quick and dirty. Alright. So I want this cable to go to the middle pin. Also, as you can see in like in this camera, I'm at a weird angle because I have the tripod of the other camera. I'm not used to doing, if I want to do some soldering, I would set up the camera in a different position for soldering, but this is just a quick fix for something that was unexpected. So I'm just making do. I'm having fun while at it. Let's see. Kind of want to show you a little bit of the process, but it's just moving two wires, two different pins. Super exciting stuff. All right. One down, one to go. Apply a little bit more solder here. Make sure that connection doesn't betray me again. Alright. You guys see that? Alright. And last but not least, this guy. So now middle pin is going to data in, which is pin this D6, aka pin 19 on the ESP32. Now this tiny one will go to ground. Question is, will it reach ground? Around here, is it long enough? Let's see. Yeah. Put one end into ground first. And see if it'll reach over. I think it will, without shorting stuff. Let's see. All right. Be back with the coding in just a second, folks. Need to resolder a couple of wires, which are now successfully resoldered. And yeah, try to make sure I don't short anything. There's little wire wrap on the underside of the board. And yep, that is it. Need to get me, you know, it'd be fun to have a microscope so I can show in a little bit closer detail some of these things, but I'm pretty happy. You know, with the use I get out of this camera, I can also try to go for a macro lens, but yeah. Alright, so time for the truth. Was that the problem, and did I manage not to burn these guys out? These old WS2812s are pretty fragile, but I just had ground on data, so it's not a, you know, major power issue, but we'll see. Time for the truth. Yay! Alright. After redoing that cabling, we're back in business. So Joe, you're telling me that you have a microscope after, and you got it, I see, after turning 47, I guess? So it's switching for the screen where the, oh, I see. All right. Yeah, no, I haven't given it a try. This is, now that I'm a maker, is the most soldering of small components I've done. So yeah, hoping to write it out and as long as I can, soldering by hand, but I'm not working with anything super tiny. Hey Paul, didn't see you say hello. How are you? Yeah, no, Joe, I got lucky that it wasn't powered and ground. It's data and ground, and it's, the reason is, you know, these boards are a little bit weird in the sense that they have two grounds. You know, as most of, you know, some of you might know, WS2812, the protocol, it's a one wire type protocol where data, ground, and power. But anyway, it has 4 pins to run 2 different grounds. And yeah, that, you know, I chose a little bit of a weird way of mounting it on the proto board itself. So anyway, that ended up biting me a little bit, but not too bad, thankfully. And at least we know that, you know, what we need to use for the Fast LED library, and I don't think I would have pulled up that sketch if I didn't need to, for the life of me, figure out if the LEDs were good or not. So now we have a good starting point. I'm actually gonna add this to the ESP32 demos one as something like simple, and I'll need to do some cosmetics and then put it on the repository. But for now, I'll name it simple WS2812 or simple fast LED. Sure. All right. So I already have the library, I believe. And I'll add this guys. For controlling, and I want to make sure that this is the old one. So if I do this, yep, the old sketch, I mean, for controlling the WS2812 LEDs. And then the LED array. Obvious. Do like that. Initialize the LED object somewhere down here. And then, yeah, I'll just show them at the end of parsing that message. So CRGB, and then just three unsigned integers, 255, I believe. Yeah. So just as a test. So I think my goal for today is just to receive one message. Do not parse it. I'll do that tomorrow, since I gotta get up early to go running. But I want to be able to at least receive a message, any message, and turn on an LED. That'll be my goal for today. So if I do this, it'll show it. And one more thing I want to do is make sure they're all empty to begin with, or they're clear. I wonder if this initialization takes care of that. We're about to see anyway. All right. And then obviously there's no I defined. I will do LED number, well, the 9th from the bottom. So let's see the messages I missed. So coding was a nightmare before GitHub. Yeah, I know, version control, it's been a lifesaver quite a few times. Yeah, I'm trying to parse some of the errors using C++. It's a bit of a nightmare. Any plans on buying that microscope, Joe? What do you think? Kind of funny. Obviously, let me do the split screen. Or I can just go to my workbench for now. When the stream, I'll need to do a little bit more work, right? Because we see that, you know, there's one LED on, but I haven't sent any messages, and the reason is because when we start the WebSocket connection with Twitch, it spits out a bunch of messages, and anytime I receive a message, then this function runs, the parse message function runs, and it turns on that LED. So again, I have a little bit of a better goal or more involved goal for this stream is to receive a message, an actual message. So I'll parse for an exclamation point and at least start the parsing. I won't get into the Arduino JSON stuff just yet, but let us do some parsing. And obviously I'm gonna try to find something that I've done before. And I know when I've done WebSockets, one of the ways is that one of the ways where I was parsing the messages is by expecting, it's kind of funny, the reason I say is because on the sketch, a really old sketch where I was talking about before how I was using Heroku, I have, this is probably for Arduino JSON, the previous version of the library, which is 5, not compatible with version 6, but I have some code that I'll reuse for doing exactly this. I can't remember even the code that I wrote for this example. This was a little over a year ago, and saying, that's kind of interesting. But yeah. So I won't do the full parsing with the Arduino JSON library, but I will at least look for the first character. And I know I need to use the index off, and I was searching for the pound sign, and now I'll search for the exclamation point, which is what most people are used to for interacting with a chat bot. And then so index off. I just want to see the syntax for using this. And yeah, it just returns the integer. I'm gonna be lazy and look exactly for how I was doing it for a WebSocket. Let me see, can I do it here in this organization? Code. Shower thoughts. I thought that's what I was using, but apparently not. So if I do this, what the heck? I'm pretty sure it's in my one of my WebSockets demo, like the introductory ones. So is it here? WebSockets. In the turntable example. Yep. I guess I was just looking at literally the first character. But yeah, these messages are a little bit more involved, so I think I'm just gonna have to do it the other way. And yep. So if it's not a, I'll do some initial parsing here when I do receive the message. So I'll say let me see how those messages actually look like. Because, you know, what happens if there are multiple exclamation points and such. And that's not what I wanted to open. I want to go to my browser, search for my Twitch, and just do a test message. All right. So this is what I was talking about. This is the structure of that message. Everything you see on this line is what's being passed. And I want to look for the very last exclamation point. So I'll need to probably work with a substring and take it from there. Or actually, this will be unique if I just search for a colon exclamation mark. That'll be my little filter. If I don't receive that, I'll just ignore the message. And yep. Let's try to see that. And make sure. Yepers. Let me see how I was handling this here. Index off. All right, and then yeah, it'll be interesting to get that substring. How do I know where it ends? Just obviously at the end of the entire string, but probably need the size of the string. Yeah. Quote start, then need to do a little trial and error here. I think if I just do size off or something like that, I can do I can know where it ends. But you know, this might be in if I turn into a string and get like the length property or a length method, that might work too. And obviously, can I turn it into a string first? A string quote equals so how do I, so this is a pointer to an unsigned integer. How do I turn it into a string? If I dereference it, is that sensible? No. Let's see. So Joe, you're planning on getting the microscope soon? Yeah. I feel you on getting a proper work surface for some of the projects. I don't plan on doing a microscope, but before I was talking about getting whatever other computers and just a different setup, and yeah, that's dependent on the desk situation and the space, I can imagine. And then get a 220 outlet. I see. So you can do a little bit of welding. That's something I want to learn so badly. Like I want to build, cars, not cars, but fun projects like modify one of those power wheels, put sensors, and just do fun projects at a miniature size car level, or doing bigger autonomous robots. So I feel welding, it's a skill that I need to master or play around with. Luckily, a good friend of mine is a really, really, really good welder who lives nearby, and he'd be happy to teach me. Like he does, parts for aerospace with big laser welders or whatnot. But he went to school for being a welding engineer. So yeah, luckily I have someone to teach me. Wagon loads. Yeah, just the C++ syntax for handling this particular case. It's a little bit tricky. So you did make welding. That's awesome. That's I missed out on some of the hands-on stuff that people pick up on shop classes and such. We didn't, growing up in South America, didn't have access to that, and yeah, I feel that I missed out a little bit. I did all sorts of stuff once I came out to go to college here. Our school had a really good machinist, and I was, there, but he was also very careful, and he would rather do a lot of the work himself. So, but at least I got to see and got the craving for trying it out myself eventually. But then life sort of derailed me from trying my own projects, and now I'm back at it, which is awesome. And yeah, I'm pretty excited to get back at it. Right now, I'm looking to hopefully move this summer to a bigger place, and yeah. Plan on having a little bit of bigger garage space for having, I don't know if I'll start with, welding equipment, but it'll at least give me the space to build, bigger projects and have a proper setup rather than here in this little corner. So I'm pretty excited about that. But, I can imagine being just good experience for how things get put together in general, not only just for the welding aspect of it, but yeah, it's something that let's say if I won the lottery, one of those silly mental exercises, I think I would just go to my community college and take an even volunteer. Like I don't need to take a class at their automotive technology shop. They have a really good one here in Pasadena, working on cars and just getting a better sense of how things are put together at a bigger scale. Like I'm good with electronics and mechanical stuff at a small scale, but for real world stuff, I kind of missed out on those skills. So I wanna, it's just a matter of time. I'm definitely gonna, I don't know if I'll become skillful, but I'm definitely planning on being exposed to it. And it all starts hopefully with a move and having, again, a bigger space for this type of projects. I'm taking it one step at a time. So, but I see too tall. Yeah, I can see that being a bit of a limitation. for, like you said, it's back-breaking work. If your physique is not helping, then it becomes almost literal, the back-breaking part of it. And let us see. So let's see. Actually, maybe in the WebSockets an example here, they'll have something. Use doesn't need to be anything in particular. Just something where they're doing something a little bit more interesting with the payload. Oh, that's interesting. I know the Twitch server sends a ping every 5 minutes or so. I mean, the code will reconnect, but just out of curiosity, I'll explore the possibility of using these cases for the type of WebSocket, the incoming WebSocket message. Doesn't seem to be processing the payload here. I'll open a couple. If not, resort to good old Google. Let's see. This is promising. I saw some Arduino JSON there. But nope. All right. WebSocket payload Arduino and then string. So yep. All right. So this is the answer I was looking for. Thank you. This person is amazing. This is one of my favorite libraries, the WebSockets library, and they're very responsive on their issues. So yeah, shout out to Links 2004. And this is the answer I was looking for. This is how to convert the payload to a string. I'll leave a little heart. And so, right, I would not have used this syntax in a million years. Would have banged my head against that proverbial table or wall for a long time. Alright, so now I have a string. With a string, I gotta make sure that it's of type string. Right. This quote. Yep. Alright. So then can I just do string length Arduino? It's a method or a property? I think it's a method. It is a method. All right, so I think if I just go from where I find the colon and the exclamation mark to the total length of the string, I'll get the whole thing. All right. And then later I'll change. I don't want to parse the payload, right? I want to, now that I have it converted to a string, I'll parse the string. But I wrote the function to take that as a parameter. I won't change it just now. All right. And then I need to, once again, cheat a little bit, remind myself how I got the substring. Pretty straightforward. Just does a search. And yeah. So I'll actually call this payload string. And do this one will actually be so obviously not a quote. It's the, I don't know, color string. So you know, it's color and index, so I'll call it pixel string. So it's a substring from the quote start to the quote end. And I'll just print it, right? Or let's see. So I only want to search, or I only want to build the substring if, you know, this thing actually exists, the colon and the exclamation point, because otherwise it's not a valid message. So that's if quote start is greater than 0. I think it returns -1. Again, I don't my memory is not all that great, but it seems logical that it returns -1 if, you know, this search doesn't find it. And so if it's greater than 0, then I will get the substring. Otherwise, they want to break twice. Can I do a return? And obviously this is where I want to call this guy. I'll print out the substring serial print pixel string, and then I will at that point turn on the LED. Else I don't need to do much, and then I can just break. All right, I think that'll do it. All right, so this is what I get for changing in the middle of it. Let's see, sorry, I missed a bunch of messages. All right, seems that code compiled, so I'm happy that it at least compiled. We'll see if it actually works. Well, Joe, it sounds that you got your work cut out for you, getting a stable surface, and you can make a 2020 resolution, getting a 220 volt outlet, but no automotive stuff, so you don't break your back. But yeah, no, it's kind of funny. Omega Killer, you know, all my friends back home, and you know, incidentally, I went to the same school that they're supposed to be based out of here in Pasadena. So all my friends is like, oh, are they filming Big Bang Theory at your school? Like, whatever. Get me a photo of Kaylee Coco. It's like, A, it's not filmed here, and B, if it were, I would know. I would not turn myself into a creep. Just search on Google for images of the actress. So it was kind of funny. I had to put up with that for a while. Yes, Osloy. I am in Pasadena, California. And yes, Links 2004 deserves all sorts of shoutouts. And yeah, instead of me getting errors, I should have probably checked the chat. So I appreciate you spotting me on that. So with that being said, let's see how this turns out. Yeah, I think Osloy, I'm happy if it's greater than 0, just because that combination will only happen. It might happen more than once, but if it happens at least once, then I'm happy, just for this very simple case scenario. And yeah, it's gonna be negative. The only case I care about if it's -1, if it's not found like at all. If it's found more than once, then I'm happy. Yeah, exactly. And yeah, no, that's also, you know, I think the payload itself, and I'll show you why it's always going to be greater than 0. Like, I'll always receive a message on the WebSocket. So yeah, But you're right, like that's a good corner case to keep in mind. And I preface all this with saying I do very minimal error checking for all the code that I do. It's just very boilerplate type of examples. So this is the kind of stuff that I let people use that on. I hate posting a very simple piece of code, right? Like all my examples are simple, so why does it have to be 200 lines of code that is like, oh, but I only need this part. So I just condense it to the absolute minimum that people would need, and then they can do things like error checking and stuff. This time around, I actually do need it. Technically, I do not, but it will make my life easier. And I'll show you in a sec the type of messages that I'm parsing. So yeah, I'm using the Twitch API, connecting over a WebSocket. And once you establish the connection, this is type of messages that we get. And I don't think I should have checked this before. I don't think this is all the normal response stuff from establishing that WebSocket connection. I don't think we'll have a colon exclamation point by default. We have exclamations, colons, but nothing else. All right, and then when I go on Twitch, which it's right here, I'm just gonna add this tab here for easiness. And if I send a message like that, that's when I'll receive something here, and this is the structure that the message has. So I'm just lazily, again, this is the minimum boilerplate that people would need. If I see that colon exclamation, then this should evaluate to true, and we should do this. So let's give that a test. If I do this, and obviously I already know how to a very simple one that'll break it, quote unquote, but again, a toy example. So yes, so now it prints out the substring, so I'm happy, right? Like it received this message. And if you for those of you, I'm sure Osloy got it, but before it wasn't printing out the substring because the message didn't contain the colon exclamation point, but this one actually did. So the substring got printed, and that's all I wanted. An easy way to break it is, if I type a message that starts with a colon exclamation point, it won't break the code because I'm expecting, but it's already a message that I did not want as part of my parsing. But that'll be the first layer. The second layer is that the actual substring, which I believe, needs to start 2 characters to the right. So that's already a change I want to make. When I build this substring, I want it to be from, I don't want to include the colon and the exclamation point. So I'll just add 2 positions, and it'll be DAS, but the second part of the filter, the second and last, will be that's formatted in JSON, and I'll let the Arduino JSON library take care of the parsing. But I gotta get up in about 5.5 hours. I'm not tired. Like a lot of you have seen me on starting a stream 2 hours from now. It's my usual time, but I do have to get up in 5.5 hours to run probably like 7-8 miles. So a good 12 kilometers with a couple of friends who are happy that restrictions are ending, blah blah. We're still going super early to be socially responsible, but yeah, probably want to have as much energy as I possibly can. And then also, I'm happy to answer some questions, and I appreciate all the help. I've been at it for 2 hours and 58 minutes, and most of that was spent chatting. But you're welcome to see, just skip through the stream. I always make them public, so you'll be able to see the whole thing. I haven't done much, but the idea, and and I appreciate the help that you provided. Sorry, I was not paying attention to the chat, but this is the setup that I'm showing on screen right now. And just as a demonstration for tomorrow, I'll release a full video on just how to build simple hardware like this that can be controlled via Twitch chat. That's the end goal of the project. And the JSON string that's gonna follow that :! will be, the key of the JSON string will be the index, 0 to 15. These are 16 LEDs, so 0 to 15 for the LED number, and the value. So, very simple JSON formatted string, the value. So only one value on the yeah. I'll need to figure out how to parse that and enforce it. But the actual value that I expect is just 3 comma separated numbers indicating the brightness of each LED are, red, green, and blue. So, but that should, I'm finishing up the video, and I just wanted to test this last part in the stream, which I hadn't done for the video. So now everything is quote unquote ready for me to record it properly. And again, I'll do the voiceover tomorrow, and I'm hoping to release it by the end of the day. But the hope is to invite people to jump on Twitch and start writing messages. So I'll have this view posted to Twitch on a live stream, and people can try to turn on and off LEDs on the chat. Yeah, I guess I don't really need a live stream like I'm showing right now. If I go back to my main screen, there's not a live stream going on right now, which I found kind of interesting. I don't think you can do this on YouTube. But on Twitch, I can just go to my channel, even if it's online, and receive chat messages, which is great. But I want to have the display of the camera, the one I was showing on screen before here, so people can get that immediate feedback. I think that'd be fun. And just leave my camera running for a little while. So we'll see how it goes. And, if anybody else has questions or suggestions. Nice. Glad to see someone jumped on Twitch. I invited a bunch of people before, but I think people are like, no, we'll take your word for it that it works. But yeah. But I'll leave it live tomorrow. So I was saying before that I've never been into Twitch, and I started gaming a little bit just for my own sake, not on Twitch, and I started streaming. Those were the 2 things I picked up with the recent set of events. And a few people on YouTube started asking, hey, you're doing streaming now, why don't you jump on Twitch? So anyway, I opened an account, and that's as far as I got. So started seeing how people have built fun stuff, controlling Pokemon with Twitch chat. And anyway, got me thinking, and this will be a good project, I think. Appreciate the extra thumbs up. Stray 77. But it should be fun. I think as a project, I don't know, particularly if you're a streamer, it's so simple. Like, honestly, I'll show you, as usual, I'll post the code. But I started looking, online, and people are using like Node.js and things. Again, every tool for a particular purpose, but it's all simple. Like, just look at the code. I just need, getting the authorization token is pretty easy, and you just open up a WebSocket client connection and send these 3 messages, and you have a WebSocket connection to Twitch chat, which works even when the stream is offline. So it's like, hey, how come more streamers don't have like a little servo going like this every time somebody posts a message? It's a little bit more difficult to, when you get subscriptions or follows, that gets a little bit trickier. I'll do another project for that one because I also like banged my head for a little while figuring that out. Because now they've moved to like a pub sub type of deal where you need to have a callback function that runs, on the internet side of things and receives the callback from Twitch. It gets a little bit more involved, but I'm hoping, again, when I have more time to dedicate to a single video, to do something around that. But for now, I think my intermediate step will be to install one of the actual Twitch bots that, they handle all the backend stuff for getting, turning the follow and subscription into a chat message, and I'll just do the parsing through the chat like I do right now. But it'll be a separate video. Tomorrow's one will be pretty simple. So nice. Joe, thank you so much for stopping by Twitch. It's fun to interact. It's like, hey, I built this for some of you to use, right? So I appreciate those of you who jumped on there. But yeah, I mean, again, for those of you who got here a little later, I haven't, it's been a week and a half, 2 weeks that I haven't jumped on stream, and it's because I'm using this camera it's a GoPro, so I have all the attachments that I wear, blah blah, for doing projects for the channel, and I was too lazy to either use my laptop camera or put this thing back. So now it's back, and anytime I take it out, I'll put it right back so I can just jump on stream and keep a little bit of a schedule. But thank you all for stopping by today, or whenever, if you're not watching this live, thank you for watching the stream. And remember to check back tomorrow, or we'll see how that run goes in the morning. It might take me till Monday, May 25th Pacific Daylight Time to publish the video, because I want to combine it with having a Twitch live stream of just the LEDs. I'm not going to be on stream. So when I settle that up, the video will be released, the code will be released as usual, and if you have any question, just feel free to shoot them over either on a comment, or I'll paste the link once again for our little Discord server. Anyway, as a lot of you know, I need to do this silly thing where this is my simplest way of getting the link to our Discord server. For the next stream, I do not know, my friend Omega Killer. I need to get better about having at least one a week that it's on a certain day, a certain time. And I'll probably, for those of you like yourself or regulars, probably ask, what's a convenient time, depending on time zones, and try to find an average that works for most people for the one day that I can guarantee. The other ones are kind of, flexible. That's the main thing. One of my main reasons for not even trying to work at an office is because I'm horrible at trying to keep a schedule. So for that, I do apologize, but I enjoy this, and I know for keeping this going and making sure that people who enjoy it are not fed up because of my silliness, then a schedule is something that works. So that's why if I shoot for one a week, I think I can commit to that, except if I'm traveling or something like that. And the other ones, I want to do more than one a week. The other ones can be a little flexible, so as a bit of a compromise. All right, Oslo, thank you so much. I will hope to see you at the next one. Whenever that may be. Sorry, I can't be more specific right now, but I promise that I'm working on it. So for you, Omega Killer, keep, it's the weekend. Hope that you get a little bit of rest, but good luck with the drilling and the bit of crazy hours that are going on. And yeah, by all means, just jump on the Discord and just ping me, hey, jump on stream. I have a few questions or whatever, but again, I'll be posting a schedule on Discord, on Twitter, and here. Like when I'm on stream, if I see you, ask me, hey, have you decided what day works best, what time, and we'll take it from there. All right, Wagon Loads, you also are a crazy night owl, as a lot of us are, but I also need to get a little bit of sleepy time. So have a good night. Thank you. You stay safe as well, and I will most certainly try to stay silly. I'll do my best. And then good night to the rest of you. Thank you so much for stopping by. All right. Till the next one.